Okay, today I'm doing a video of tear down on a Kel-Tec P3AT. Let me start by saying I apologize for my voice being kind of monotony. I've got a real bad cold right now. My voice is a little bit monotony sometimes anyways, but now it's really bad. But I really want to get a video out, so I'm going to have to live with it for now. Anyhow, this is my Kel-Tec P3AT that I bought for my personal protection. Really wanted the LCP, but went with the Kel-Tec because I wasn't going to pay all that extra money just for a slide lock on an LCP. You know, I'm a big Ruger fan, but at the same time, you know, I'm not stupid either. I'm not going to pay all that money for a slide lock, even though I wanted it. This here is a hard chrome model. The reason I went with hard chrome was because for a couple different reasons. First of all, I'm going to be carrying it a lot, in my pocket and beside waistband, you know, car console, car glove box, wherever. And and I want something that would wear a lot better than just a regular blued pistol, which this should. And then the other reason is, you know, I might be taking this out in the woods with me one day, quad riding, you know, snowmobiling and whatever. And I wanted something that was a little bit more rust resistant than a blued, you know, pistol slide, which this one here obviously should be. So that's the reason I went with the hard chrome. Not so happy with the fact that it's just as shiny as it is, and if I had to use it in self-defense in the middle of the night, somebody's going to be able to see it real easy. I'd rather be able to draw my pistol quickly without somebody being able to see it, but at the same time, I don't want to buy a pistol every year because it's all rusted up. So anyhow, this is one of the few reviews I'll do where I actually have a loaded magazine. There's a reason why I have a loaded magazine when I'm doing a pistol review like this. I'll go ahead and clear it. Chamber's clear. The reason I have this loaded magazine here is because I've actually read the manual. I know a lot of guys don't, but I've actually read the manual on how to tear this down, and one of the neat tools for tearing this down is actually a cartridge casing. And you know, I can't say I honestly use that to tear it down that way every time to clean, but at the same time, if I had to tear it down somewhere else where I didn't have, you know, a soft tip screwdriver here, something to pry with, I got screwdrivers that I got dipped in plastic dip to keep from scratching. But if I had to tear it down somewhere else, I could. So let's go ahead and start with that. The manual says to take a cartridge casing. You can either take an unspent one, or you can take one right out of the magazine. And what you do is you kind of apply it right underneath this pin here. There's a lip here. And you could actually, if your nail's strong enough, you could probably pry that out with your fingernail. My nails used to be that strong, but not anymore. So you just simply take the cartridge casing, kind of wiggle it in underneath that pin, and then you kind of start rocking that pin out. And you'll see it coming out there. And then once you get to the point where it's, you know, hanging out enough to grab, you can just grab it and pull her on out. So, great little tool to have in the field. Like I said, I know a lot of guys probably don't read the instructions, but slide backwards and then slide it forward, and there you go. It slides loose from the rest of the pistol, and then you just got to pry that guide pin out there, being very careful. There's two springs in here. I don't understand the reason for two springs. I mean, I imagine what they're trying to go after is one spring tension here, and then maybe slightly more spring tension the deeper you get, but I think you could have done that with one spring anyways. So like I said, be careful. There's two springs here, in case you don't know. So there's the guide pin and the slide spring, and then your barrel just pops out right here, and that's what allows you to get to the barrel to clean the barrel. Now, I'm man enough to admit that this is my carry piece, and I definitely want to have a very reliable carry piece. So what I did, day number 1, when I brought this thing home, I voided the warranty the first day I owned it. I mean, I voided this warranty within 2 hours of owning it. Brought it home, tore it down, got out my, let's see if I got one here, I think I do. Got out my Dremel and my felt tip polishing attachment that goes on this. This is like a coarse threaded arbor. Hold up here a little bit so you can see it. Coarse threaded arbor and just a felt tip. It's a white felt tip that it's kind of darkened now from metal. And here's some red rouge I have. Or let me see if I can find it. I think it's sitting right. I had it sitting right here. Okay, can't find it. I got a little jar of it too. I got a little jar of red polishing rouge. You just put some rouge on there, but what I did was, might be a little difficult to see, but this is the feed ramp from the magazine up into the barrel. And I don't know if you can see the reflection. Probably not. I don't think you can see the reflection. Might be able to see the reflection of my finger a little bit in the ramp there as it passes back and forth. Basically, I just polished the crap out of this and make it super shiny. By making it super shiny, you make it super slick, and it allows the cartridges to slide up in and feed into the chamber a lot more reliable. This is something, in my opinion, that should be done with every pistol that has a cartridge that loads at the time of fire versus revolver that doesn't load at the time of fire. So yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna tell you what, when I first got this thing home and I was kind of just going like this and kind of just hitting it, it drug a little bit. Now the thing's like, it feels like there's oil in there. It's so slick, and it just loads them a lot smoother and a lot easier. I'd imagine the reason this isn't done from the factory on every pistol is because it takes time, and that's something that factors into the cost of the pistol. And they figure if you want it done, you'll probably do it yourself. So yeah, I polished that up just to make it more reliable. I also use nickel self-defense rounds. That way they don't corrode from carrying it out in the moist air, in the wintertime or rainy weather. And knowing that the nickel has a certain amount of slickness to it as well. So these things, with nickel self-defense rounds and with a polished feed ramp, this thing should load every time I need it to. Whether I'm practicing or whether I'm using it for the act of self-defense, that thing should load every time because it's polished now. And you gotta, it's something you gotta keep up on. You practice a lot with a pistol, which I don't practice a lot with this one, just every now and then. But when you practice a lot with pistol, you're gonna have to go back and grease, super light sanding with a super fine grit sandpaper and a polishing wheel, and you'll get your shine back. So that's pretty much it. Let me go ahead and get this loaded back up, get it out of the way. Here's my Black Hawk holster, by the way. I've got one other Black Hawk holster for another pistol I own, and the pistol sits too far above the belt and is always wanting to rock and fall out. Like 3 times I've caught it on the way to the floor at Walmart and wherever. Don't really like the Black Hawk holster for that reason. I was real leery about getting this one, but the one thing I did notice about this one, it sets a lot deeper in the holster. There's not that much of the gun sticking up, and it's not as top heavy. So this holster for this gun is awesome. And this is the I don't have the number on it. It's got a fat manufacturer's number, 5100001. I think it's the SM4, small 4, for this particular pistol here. Actually, I take it back. I got the 04, small autos, size 04. Works great, awesome for these Kel-Tecs and LCPs, and probably even for the Taurus too as well. So real quickly, put this back together real quick. Drop that in there like so. Feed the guide pin into the slide springs there. And then the hard thing about this is getting the spring to go all the way through both sets of springs. You just gotta kind of keep hitting it and praying you get it there, because it's hard to get it through both sets of springs. And then of course my thumb's gonna cramp up. My thumb's gonna cramp and lock up. There is a little bit of a trick to get, you gotta basically apply pressure and then try and straighten this pin out at the same exact time. And it's it can be tricky, that's for sure. There we go. Okay, so it's in, and you gotta be careful because it's not held in. It's being held in by spring tension right now. So you gotta be careful because the thing moves and phew, it's gone. Put the slide back on to the action. Apply a little bit of slight backwards pressure. You see where this isn't lined up. So a little bit slight backwards pressure and that pin will drop right in. And then you're going to cycle it because that leaves the hammer all the way up. So that's it. Thanks.